You sit down to focus for 1 hour, just 1 hour. You tell yourself, this time I'm serious. 2 minutes later, you've checked your phone, opened 6 new tabs, and somehow ended up in front of the fridge, staring at cheese like it's going to give you life advice. 10 more minutes go by, and now you're watching a video called Top 10 Facts About Squirrels in Norway, and you have no idea how you got there. The hour ends. You have maybe 10 minutes of actual work and a full tank of shame. If this is your normal, listen carefully. You are not lazy. You are not stupid. You are not someone who just doesn't care enough. You have an ADHD brain. It runs on dopamine like a car runs on gas. Boring tasks have almost no dopamine. So your brain does what any smart engine does when the fuel runs out. It starts hunting for anything that feels more alive. That is why you checked your phone 47 times. In this video, you're not getting another just focus harder lecture. You're getting 5 ADHD-friendly ways to make your brain actually stay with you on the task without forcing yourself to suffer through an hour of mental torture. Let's start with why your brain refuses to just focus in the first place. For a typical brain, sitting down to work on something dull is like walking on flat ground. Not fun, but doable. For an ADHD brain, the same task feels like running uphill in sand, while someone on the side keeps yelling, "Come on, you just need more willpower." Your dopamine system is starved. Low stimulation doesn't feel neutral. It feels wrong, empty, uncomfortable. Your brain is wired to move towards stimulation and away from that emptiness, so of course it wants to escape. You've probably tried to brute force it. You closed all your tabs, hid your phone, told yourself, "I will not move until this is done." And then, your brain did something very predictable. It started screaming. Your body got restless. Your thoughts scattered. You suddenly remembered 20 tiny tasks you absolutely needed to do right now, like cleaning the sink or reorganizing your app icons. The longer you sat there, the worse it felt, until your body literally pushed you out of the chair. That's not a moral failure. That's your nervous system hitting its limit. For ADHD brains, willpower is a match, not a fireplace. You can use it to light something, but you cannot heat the whole house with it. When you try to run a whole focus session on pure willpower, you don't just fail the task, you also wreck your self-trust. "This time I'll finally be serious," that ends in distraction becomes another brick in the wall of, "I can't rely on myself." And that story hurts a lot more than a late email. So let's throw out the old question, how do I force myself to focus like everyone else? And swap it for a better one. How do I build focus in a way that fits my actual brain? Because the moment you stop fighting your wiring and start designing around it, the game changes. Focus stops being an exam you always fail and becomes a skill you can support with the right setup. First tool, body doubling. If you've ever noticed that you magically get more done when someone else is sitting near you working, that's this. It's not about shame or someone policing you. It's about your brain syncing to another person's presence. When someone else in your space is calmly doing their thing, your brain gets a clear signal. This is the mode we are in now. We're working. Body doubling can be extremely simple. You open a video call with a friend, say, "Let's work for 20 minutes," and then both of you mute. No deep talk, no performance. You just share the same quiet. Or you join an online focus room where people study on camera. Or you go to a cafe where everyone around you is typing and reading. Your brain looks around and thinks, apparently we're part of the working humans tribe right now. And weirdly, it follows. Sometimes the call is almost funny. 2 people on Zoom, both silently staring at their screens, making small "I am alive" gestures every half hour. It looks ridiculous from the outside, but inside your brain, something important happens. Your focus has rails. You're less likely to jump into an endless side quest because you know there is another human in this scene who is also on task. You might think, "But I'm an adult, I should be able to work alone." Sure, that's the story the world tells you. But if your brain works better when someone else is there, that is not childish. That is efficient. Use what works. If your brain focuses better in a fake co-working space with strangers on YouTube than alone in your room, congratulations, you just found a free productivity hack. Next tool, short focus sprints with planned breaks. There is a well-known time management method where you work in blocks and then rest. You don't need to know the fancy name. The idea is simple. Instead of, "I must focus for 1 full hour," you say, "I'm doing a small focus sprint, then I get a break." That's it. One sprint, one break, repeat. For many ADHD brains, 25 minutes is already a stretch, so make it shorter. 10 or 15 minutes of real focus is way more powerful than 60 minutes of fake I'm working while your brain secretly scrolls through 3 timelines and your soul slowly leaves your body. Tell yourself, I'm going in for 10 minutes. That's all. Set a timer. During those 10 minutes, the rule is simple. You only touch the one task you chose. No extra tabs, no side quests, no, let me just quickly check something. Then, when the timer rings, you don't say, come on, just a bit more, be strong. You actually stop. You get a real break. Stand up, stretch, grab water, play one song you love, do a tiny victory walk to the kitchen. Make the break feel like a real reward, not just dead air between 2 torture sessions. Your brain learns if I go into a sprint, something good happens after. If you want to make it fun, you can gamify it. Give each focus sprint 1 point. Decide that 4 points today unlock a reward tonight. Maybe that reward is watching an episode of a show guilt-free, or ordering takeout, or just having an evening with 0, I should be doing something else thoughts. You can even challenge yourself, how many micro tasks can I defeat in 20 minutes? And treat your to-do list like little monsters you knock out one by one. Is it slightly silly? Yes. Does your brain care? Not really. It cares about progress, challenge, and reward. If a tiny scoreboard on a piece of paper makes you finish 3 focus sprints instead of none, that silly thing just became a serious tool. Now, accountability. That word usually arrives with memories of adults saying, you need to be more responsible. Forget that. Here, it just means this. The task should exist outside your head. When it lives only in your thoughts, it's easy to move it to later, where it will happily sit for 6 months. When somebody else knows you're doing it, your brain feels a gentle pressure, in a good way. Accountability can look very small. You text a friend, I'm going to send you my finished outline at 4 p.m. Now your brain knows there is a tiny social deadline. Or you agree with someone, let's both finish one annoying task and then message each other that we survived. You don't need a productivity coach. You just need another human who knows this thing exists. The key is to keep accountability supportive, not toxic. The point is not to give someone permission to yell at you. The point is to use the fact that your brain takes other people seriously. When you promise someone, I'll show you the draft, the task suddenly feels more real. And when you do send it, even if it's imperfect, you get a real hit of, I did what I said I would do. That's how you slowly rebuild trust in yourself. Let's move to dopamine stacking. Your brain is always scanning for stimulation. If the task is low stimulation and the environment is also low stimulation, your brain says, nope, and goes looking for something else. So instead of putting yourself in a blank white room with 0 sensory input and expecting miracles, you can layer in small, safe sources of dopamine around the task. Think of it like a focus recipe. Boring task plus nice music plus favorite drink equals something your brain can tolerate. You put on a playlist that makes you feel calm or quietly hyped. You pour a drink you like. You sit in a spot that feels good, maybe next to a window or wrapped in a blanket. Suddenly, the task is not sit in a cold chair and suffer. It's enter my little focus ritual. You can create different focus stacks for different types of work. Maybe your writing stack is music, tea, and a comfortable hoodie. Your admin stack is coffee, upbeat background noise, and a clear desk. Your scary task stack is laptop at a cafe, noise in the background, and a promise to yourself that you can leave after 30 minutes no matter what. You're not fooling yourself. You're giving your brain fuel. And yes, environment matters way more than people admit. Environment design doesn't mean your space needs to look like a minimalist productivity Pinterest board. It means your space shouldn't actively fight you. If your desk looks like a small natural disaster, your brain has to process all that chaos before it even touches the actual task. If your phone is lying right next to your hand, unlocked, with notifications on, you've basically invited a dragon into the room and politely asked it not to breathe fire. So you design things before you start. You put your phone in another room, or at least out of your reach, not in front of you face down, because let's be honest, you will pick it up just for a second and wake up 25 minutes later on some random subreddit. You close the tabs you don't need. You put away the stuff that has nothing to do with the task. The idea is simple. make the right action easy and the wrong action slightly annoying. Sometimes just moving locations can change everything. If your bed is 3 steps away, your brain will try to migrate there the moment a task feels hard. So you move to the kitchen table, a library, a cafe, a different room. A new environment gives your brain a new script. This is the place where we work, not the place where we fall into YouTube holes. When you put all of this together, something powerful happens. Body doubling, short focus sprints, playful gamification, gentle accountability, dopamine stacking, and a supportive environment, they add up. You're no longer asking your brain to do the hardest version of the task in the worst possible conditions. You're asking it to do a smaller, more reasonable thing in a setup that actually helps. The more often you experience, I set this up in an ADHD-friendly way and I actually finish something, the more your inner story changes. Instead of, I never follow through, it quietly becomes, I can get things done if I set myself up right. That shift is huge. It doesn't turn you into a different person. It just lets the version of you that actually cares about things finally show up. If part of you is thinking, okay, sounds nice, but I've tried so many systems, why would this be different? Here's the difference. Most systems you've tried probably assumed you have a standard brain and endless willpower. They gave you rules and expected you to obey them. This approach starts with the truth. Your brain needs more stimulation, shorter blocks, visible progress, and less temptation in its face. You are not failing the system. The system was failing you. You don't have to adopt everything at once. In fact, please don't. Pick one thing that feels light. One silent co-working call. One 15-minute focus sprint with a fun break after. One tiny environment change, like phone in. Another room and only one tab open. Try it. See how your brain reacts. Adjust. If a method makes you feel worse, shrink it or swap it. You're not trying to impress a teacher. You're literally running experiments on how your own brain works. You are not a failure because you can't stare at a boring task for an hour without moving. Your brain is wired for movement, ideas, connections, quick shifts. That wiring makes some things harder, like focus on low stimulation tasks, but it also gives you a lot. Creativity, hyperfocus. When something really clicks, the ability to see patterns other people miss. You don't lose those strengths when you support your focus. You make it easier for them to show up on purpose, not just by accident at 2 a.m. So next time you catch yourself saying, I just need to be stronger, stop. Strength is not doing everything the hardest way possible. Strength is admitting, my brain works like this. And then, building a life that respects that. Ask yourself, how can I make this task more ADHD-friendly right now? Do I need a person on a call with me? Do I need to break this into 2 tiny sprints instead of one giant one? Can I add something pleasant so this doesn't feel like punishment? What can I move out of my way before I start? You deserve a version of focus that doesn't feel like constant self-punishment. You deserve to finish things without destroying your self-worth in the process. And you don't get there by screaming, just try harder, at your own brain. You get there by working with it, understanding its rules, and giving it tools that actually fit. Start with one small change today, not a perfect system, not a total life reboot. Just one tiny shift that makes focus a little easier, a little lighter, a little less painful, then another and another. Over time, that's how you go from checking your phone 47 times in an hour to looking up and realizing, wait, I actually did the thing. In that moment, more than any productivity hack, is what will quietly change how you see yourself.